65-degree afternoon here in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers have won their last 8 home openers. Here's Pete Carroll. His Seahawks won the division in his first season last year. Mike Tomlin now in his 5th season. He has led the Steelers to a pair of Super Bowl appearances. Stephen Hauschka gets things started for the Seahawks. Antonio Brown takes it out. And Brown is tripped up shy of the 20. So Ben Roethlisberger making his 100th regular season start, leading the Steelers offense onto the field.
Kind of funny talking to Ben on Friday. He told us, going into that Baltimore game, I felt as good as I ever had, got into the game, thought I was seeing things, was prepared really well. And then he doesn't really know why he came out and had the type of performance he did last week. You mentioned, Kenny, very uncharacteristic of this team. And Mike Tomlin called it a popcorn game. There are issues popping up all over the place. Offense, defense, special teams.
Steelers with 2 new starters on the offensive line. From the 18-yard line on first down, Roethlisberger looking to throw. He dumps it off. The catch is made by Mendenhall. He's tripped up by Aaron Curry after a gain of 4.
And this Steelers offense got some great matchups on the outside. One of the things that we're all going to be looking for, Mike Wallace, Hines Ward, also Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders matched up. But like everything else, it all starts with those guys up front. They've got Marcus Gilbert in, starting as a rookie at the right tackle spot. Ramon Foster gets the start for Chris Kimoatu.
On second down and 6, this is Mendenhall. Out to the 25-yard line, gain of 3. David Hawthorne, the tackle.
One of the bright spots for Seattle last week was really the defense. They played very well. They were on short fields quite a bit in that game against San Francisco. Big up front, very impressed with that group. Their front 7 strong with the linebackers. And one of the things we're going to keep an eye on during the course of today's game are these 2 safeties, Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas. Very involved in the run game, very good in coverage.
Weldy Moore in the backfield, 3rd down and 2. Roethlisberger from the shotgun. Over the middle, and it's complete for a first down and more. Emmanuel Sanders into Seahawks territory, and he is finally knocked out of bounds by Chancellor at the Seattle 43-yard line. 30 yards from Roethlisberger to Sanders.
One of the challenges for Seattle will be in coverage against this group of wide receivers. You see the separation right there with Emmanuel Sanders being guarded by Brandon Browner. Now, Brandon Browner is a big guy. He's a legit 6'4", 220 corner. How is he going to handle that speed and agility of these Steeler wide receivers in space?
That offensive line for the Steelers also doing a great job right now of giving Ben time. Ben, one thing that he doesn't like is pressure in his face.
Here's Mendenhall. Back to the 40-yard line. Red Bryant made the tackle, a gain of 4.
Another guy we got to keep our eyes on, Darryl, Red Bryant. They're going to put him at defensive end, but also move him inside to try and get some pressure like Haloti Ngata did last week with the Ravens.
Haloti Ngata, Goose, one of those unique guys in the NFL. Red Bryant, we've been watching him for a couple of years now. A big force on that outside. He's a pretty big defensive end. Look for the Steelers maybe to try and get some audibles or some changes in strength where they can run at Chris Clemens on the other side.
On second down and 6, off the fake inside handoff, Roethlisberger going deep for Mike Wallace. And there is a flag. Brandon Browner on the coverage.
Pass interference. Number 39 defense. Foul in the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Seahawks play Mike Wallace. He's got tremendous speed. You can see all the contact there. Brandon Browner did not get his head around at all. He's got contact. He's face guarding. There's several ways to get pass interference called on you. I think Brandon did it about 3 different ways on that play.
I mean, at 6'4", all he had to do was put his hands up. He probably would have tipped the ball. That's one big corner, I'll tell you.
3 tight end set. First and goal from the 1. Here's Mendenhall, and he is bottled up. Quentin McDonald, first Seahawk, in on the tackle.
I was impressed with Seattle last week against San Francisco and Frank Gore. You know, Frank Gore has had huge games against the Seahawks throughout his career. They've got a young, good offensive line out in San Francisco. I tell you what, that Seattle defense played very, very well last week. It's going to be tough to run against them. They're going to have to try and wear those guys down up front. They're big bodies for the Seahawks.
Doug Legursky has moved back to the fullback position. Roethlisberger in trouble. Down he goes. Back at the 9-yard line. It's the longtime Green Bay Packer, Atari Bigby.
Well, you're going to go after the young tackle and try and challenge him. Atari Bigby coming from the outside. Here's Marcus Gilbert here down inside. He's got to kick out, but he doesn't get out there fast enough. I know when you go in there as a young guy, assignment-wise, you want to be true, but you also have to have that knowledge and that feel. Okay, I've got a safety. He's up tight on the line of scrimmage. I'm supposed to set down in here and kind of shore this up for my guard and my tight end, but don't put yourself in a position where you can't get back out on your assignment.
Third and goal from the 8. Roethlisberger moving to his right. Now he will look to take it in himself. And he is stopped short.
When you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the things you have to guard against is Ben Roethlisberger when the play breaks down. Great job here of pumping, trying to get that defense to hold. Now you make your decision, put your shoulder down, and go.
Another thing the receivers have to do that I didn't see. It looks like his knee was down right there, but when Ben comes out of that pocket, those receivers have to go and find a way to get open. It looked like they all just froze there in the end zone, and Ben had nowhere to go, so he winds up running the ball.
And now the Steelers use their first timeout. Fourth and goal coming up. Steelers going for it on 4th and goal. Again, Legursky, the fullback, 3 tight end set. Here is Mendenhall. He reaches across, and he is stopped. Earl Thomas making the tackle. What a stand by the Seahawks defense.
I tell you, this is a great effort by Earl Thomas. He's got Rashard Mendenhall in the hole alone, and he gets the job done. Watch this play. We talked about these safeties. He sees it, and he hits it right now. Gets around everybody. Rashard Mendenhall, a big physical back. He stretches and breaks the plane, but it's after he's down. Unfortunately for Coach Mike Tomlin, Rashard Mendenhall's knee already down before he stretches out. And there's that energy of Pete Carroll that's infused this Seattle team.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers drive 81 yards, come away with nothing. And now Mike Tomlin throws the red flag. He will challenge that last play.
Well, I just think he's going to lose this. Rashard Mendenhall clearly down before he stretched to break the plane.
Earl Thomas hits that hole like he's the running back. He's through it before.
But watch everybody that misses him, Goose. David Johnson misses him. Doug Legursky misses him.
On the field that the runner was short of the goal line.
Yeah, he was short. His knee was down.
Now remember, all scoring plays are automatically reviewed if they are ruled touchdowns on the field. This one was not. Tomlin with the challenge. Back in Pittsburgh, here's Bill Levy.
Reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner's knee was down with the ball short of the goal line. Pittsburgh will be charged. There's timeout.
So the Steelers will already use the timeout on offense, and you see the timeouts on our Fox box, upper left-hand corner of your screen. Steelers with only 1 remaining, and we have not yet played 5 minutes.
Yeah, here's the key. Watch Doug Legursky on this one. They get guys looking at the same person. That allows Earl Thomas to come underneath, and an interesting challenge by Mike Tomlin at this early stage of the game. Somebody upstairs should have let him know that Rashard Mendenhall was definitely down before he stretched to break that play.
So now Tarvaris Jackson and the Seahawks start from their own 1-yard line. Off the play fake, Jackson to Marshawn Lynch. Tiptoeing up the sideline, gains just a yard.
The difference in this game is going to be this group right here, the Seattle Seahawks offense. Can they be productive against this Steeler defense that's going to have a chip on their shoulder after their performance last week? They run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, and here's your challenge. Tony talked about this at the top. You've got two rookies playing side by side, and against Dick LeBeau and this talented defense, that could spell trouble.
Rookie right guard, rookie right tackle. Here's Lynch coming out of the end zone. And he loses a yard as Troy Polamalu comes up to make the tackle.
A lot of talk this week in Pittsburgh and really around the country. Has the Pittsburgh Steelers defense gotten too old? Now remember, this was the #2 defense in the NFL last year. They were in the Super Bowl. I don't think you age that much in less than 8 months. They had a bad game against the Baltimore Ravens last week. Baltimore came out and kicked their butts. Casey Hampton said it. They whooped us. They beat us like we haven't been beaten before. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond this week.
Seahawks keep it on the ground on 3rd down with Justin Forsett. So Seattle goes 3 and out on their opening possession.
That's shocking to me, Darryl, running behind those two rookie offensive linemen there on 3rd down with Moffitt and Carpenter. Just have a lot of confidence in those two guys. First time playing together.
There's Antonio Brown awaiting John Ryan's punt. Ryan, a franchise record 77-yard punt last week against San Francisco. Good kick. Brown back at the 40, stays on his feet, and that is tackled back at the 38-yard line, and a flag is thrown.
See if we get a face mask during the course of the return. Yeah, there's Matt McCoy getting a handful and pulling it down. Now we also had 2 other flags thrown late. They're right off to the right side of the officials as they get together for a conference right there. I don't think that they were related to the face mask either. At the time, Clint Gresham, number 49, was on a knee going to get up.
Against both teams on the play. During the kick, illegal block in the back, number 50 of the receiving team. On the run back, personal foul, face mask, number 25 of the kicking team. By rule, those penalties offset at the spot of the tackle. First down. Timeout.
So the penalties offset. Good field position for Ben Roethlisberger, the 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Is only at Burger King and by the Droid Bionic, made from machines to rule all machines, only at Verizon.
Second offensive possession for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's Bill Levy, our referee. Also worked Super Bowl 40 between the Steelers and Seahawks back in February 2006. Off the play fake, Roethlisberger throws, and it's off the hands of the tight end, wide open. Heath Miller, 2nd and 10, upcoming. Steelers won Super Bowl 40, 21-10 over the Seahawks. Hines Ward named the game's most valuable player, one of 17 Steelers still on their roster. Only 2 Seahawks, Leroy Hill and Marcus Trufant, and 2 of our officials, Bill Levy along with the line judge Mark Perlman, worked that game.
That goes to show you the amount of changeover, with Pete Carroll coming in as the new head coach and Jim Morrow Jr. before that. With Seattle, only 2 guys remaining from that Super Bowl roster.
Bill Cowher and Mike Holmgren, the head coaches in Super Bowl 40. Here's Mendenhall. Looks to turn the corner. And he is finally tackled at the 48-yard line. He gains 8. Time for our first game break with Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
Well, the Cam Newton beat goes on. Opening drive against the Packers. 3-yard touchdown pass to Brandon LaFell. On that drive, Newton 6 for 7 for 90 yards and a score. Carolina up 7-0. Any moose and goose?
Thanks, Kurt. You think Terry is a believer yet?
I tell you what, I'm starting to become a believer. I kind of had Terry Bradshaw, same opinion of Cam Newton that he expressed last week, and he sure has outperformed what I thought he was going to do.
Third down and 2 for Terry's former club, the Steelers. Roethlisberger complete for a first down to Mike Wallace. His first catch today.
One of the things that Pittsburgh has to do is get into a little bit of a rhythm right now. I mean, Ben missed an opportunity with Heath Miller before that, and he comes back here. Here's some of that press coverage that we're going to see. Mike Wallace against Marcus Trufant. And one of the things you have to guard against if you're in press coverage and one-on-one against Mike Wallace is that speed down the field. And Marcus Trufant played that pretty well. He's not going to give up the big play, keeps everything in front of him. They get the first down, but boy, Mike Wallace, that's a tough job one-on-one.
From the 45 on first down, Mendenhall, stutter step, cuts to the outside. Knocked out of bounds, just shy of a first down. 9 more yards for Rashard Mendenhall.
Great job by Heath Miller staying on his man. I mean, you're going to watch Rashard Mendenhall come up into the line of scrimmage. He's going to tap, he's going to slide. Keep your eyes on number 83 right here. Staying with your block. A lot of times you hit your guy and you get off him. Actually taps him down. He's got Leroy Hill, stays on him. That gives Rashard Mendenhall the opportunity to bounce that outside.
Heath Miller's one of those guys, he gets his hands on you, Darryl, you just can't get him off.
Second and 1 off the fake to Redmond. Pump fake from Roethlisberger. Now complete to Isaac Redmond. For first down, Aaron Curry makes the tackle. But not before Redmond gains 6 down to the Seattle 30.
Ball sailing a little bit on Ben Roethlisberger right now. Even that little check down to Isaac Redmond up in the air a little bit, a little high. He's got to reach up and get that, similar to the pass he had to Heath Miller on that crossing route to open this drive when he sailed it a little high.
Caught for a first down at the 15-yard line by Hines Ward.
Well, Goose, I know you played against the Steelers quite a bit. That's one of those things you got to guard against every time you play them.
Every time you cross the 50, you got to be alert to these gadget plays. You see Hines Ward here, acts like he's going to block, comes right across. Nice throw, and you put it near a guy like Hines Ward, he's going up and he's getting it. Everyone thinks he's a great dancer because he won Dancing with the Stars, but this guy can catch the ball.
Then back to Super Bowl 40, the touchdown pass thrown by Antoine Randall against the Seahawks to Hines Ward. From the 15-yard line, Mendenhall inside the 10, and finally forced out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
And Tony just mentioned a lot of times you think about Hines Ward as a blocker. We just saw him on that reception. But when you have a guy like Hines Ward on your team that can do so many different things, it's unbelievable. He's going to be right here, coming in motion. Watch him. Bounces outside. That's a linebacker. You know, most of the time when you motion a wide receiver inside, you're going to try and get him up inside on a safety, maybe chip some guy as you run away from him. They bring Hines Ward inside and then run right at him, right behind him as he blocks a linebacker.
First and goal from the 4. Mendenhall down to the 1.
Well, they're trying to soften up the middle of that Seattle's defense, Darryl. You think we're going to see that same play we saw when they were inside the 5-yard line last time again?
No, I want to see him get out to the edge. I know Rashard Mendenhall is a big, powerful back, but, you know, Chris Clemens is a little bit undersized on the corner. You know, he's about a 255, 260-pound defensive end. They talked about trying to create a formation when they could run to him. I would try to get wide to the offensive left side of the field right here. They've got strength to the right.
Second and goal. It is Mendenhall who spins in for the touchdown.
Get all your big bodies to the right side and just Rashard Mendenhall, a great job with his spin right there. Cam Chancellor comes in, has a shot at him, nothing clean, but he spins inside, is able to break some tackles, get in for the touchdown.
Mendenhall could not break the plane on 4th and goal on the Steelers' first drive. This time, he gets in. Sean Sweezen connects on the point after. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have taken a 7-0 lead over the Seattle Seahawks. Mike Tomlin's excited. Drove 81 yards on their first possession. Could not score. Now a 9-play, 60-yard drive. Rashard Mendenhall with his first touchdown of the season. The always dangerous Leon Washington returned 3 kickoffs for touchdowns last year. Washington from the 2. 22-yard return out to the 24. Tarvaris Jackson and the Seahawks went 3 and out on their first possession. Another chance coming up. September day in Pittsburgh. Steelers lead 7-0. Seahawks went 3 and out on their first possession. Start from the 23. Jackson throws on first down, and it's complete to the tight end Anthony McCoy. William Gay starting for Bryant McFadden at left corner on the tackle.
You take a look at Tarvaris Jackson last week, 21, 37, 197, 2 TDs. But the one thing that everybody has said about Tarvaris Jackson after the game last week is how tough he is, how competitive he is. That Tony mentioned the youth in this offensive line for Seattle. He took a beating last week against San Francisco, but just kept popping up and playing and competing.
Empty backfield, 2nd and 6. Jackson to the outside, and the catch is made for a first down. Leon Washington takes it out to the 37-yard line. Ryan Clark made the tackle. Mike Tomlin was the defensive coordinator in Minnesota in 2006, Jackson's rookie season. And when we spoke to Mike on Friday, he talked about Tarvaris Jackson's toughness.
Absolutely, and it's one of the things that you look for in a quarterback. You know, we had chances to talk to Mike Lawrence, a lot of quarterback coaches, and a lot of them, what's the one thing they're looking for that's really an intangible that you can't teach is courage in the pocket. Tarvaris Jackson has plenty of that.
Penalty marker as Marshawn Lynch fights his way back to the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 72 off. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's on the left guard, Robert Gallery. Time for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Bears with a big game at New Orleans, and they get on the scoreboard first. Jay Cutler to Dane Sanzenbacher, rookie free agent out of Ohio State with his first NFL touchdown. Puts the Bears up early on in the first quarter. Can he move some goose?
Good win for the Bears last week at home over the Atlanta Falcons. Jackson with loads of time, but not finding one downfield, and throws it away.
Well, I don't know if they were trying to do a double move on the top of this. If you take a look right here at this receiver, see if they were trying to do a hitch and go right now, and it kind of got out of sync with Ben Obamanu. Good coverage by William Gay right there, but the decision by Tarvaris Jackson, one of the things that Pete Carroll, the head coach, and Darrell Bevell, the offensive coordinator, said they wanted to see this week from Tarvaris Jackson was quicker decisions. Either throw the ball away if it's not there, and if you want to run, just decide to run quicker. Don't hold it. Don't stand in the pocket. You can't against the Steelers D.
Double 5 years with Jackson in Minnesota. 2nd down and 20. Jackson with time over the top. And again, it's the tight end McCoy at the 31-yard line. James Farrier.
Really surprised at that Steeler defense. Really not bringing a lot of pressure. Last play, they go and rush 3 players. Before that, only 4. Usually the Steeler defense likes to bring that 5th man into it, but I haven't seen it yet. Tarvaris Jackson has plenty of time back there to go and make good decisions.
Seahawks must get to the 46. 3rd and 15. Jackson takes off and he slides down at the 39-yard line. 7 yards shy of the marker.
Well, there's some of that quick decision-making we're talking about, Tony. I mean, it's 3rd and 15. The chances of you scrambling for a first down going to be pretty difficult, but at least make the decision quickly.
He sees those 2 linebackers over the center that just drop out. The whole middle of the field opens right up. That's why I think he made that decision to go and take it right up the middle.
Ryan punting for the 2nd time. Antonio Brown backpedaling, takes it out to 6. Brown up the sideline. He stayed in bounds, and he is finally tackled at the 47-yard line by K.J. Wright. A 39-yard return by Antonio Brown. Steelers lead 7-0 this October. The American League's best teams will look to their brightest stars to see which ones will become the newest hero that leads them into the Fall Classic. Legends are born in October. Our exclusive coverage of the American League Championship Series begins October 8th only on Fox. Terrific battle for the American League wild card continues. Congratulations to the Detroit Tigers. Longtime Pittsburgh Pirates manager Jim Leland. Tigers have clinched the American League Central. Here's Isaac Redman into Seahawks territory. Out of bounds at the Seattle 48 as time winds down. 18 seconds remaining in this first quarter.
Well, you hope to make corrections from week to week, and for Seattle, you know, last week's special teams, something that they were very good at last season, really an issue leading to that loss against San Francisco. You pointed out the 2 returns by Ted Ginn in a span of less than a minute, 268 yards in combined kickoff and punt return yards, and you start off with another big return here by Antonio Brown against the Steelers.
Steelers stopped at the 1 on their first drive, scored on their second possession, lead after 1, 7-0. As we start this second quarter, 2nd down and 5 from the Seattle 48. Roethlisberger 4 of 5 in the first quarter. He fires, and it is nearly intercepted by Aaron Curry.
I am really surprised that Ben threw that ball. Aaron Curry was standing right there. I don't know what he was seeing.
You know, there's a handful of plays in every game, Tony, that you have to make, and Aaron Curry's got a chance here to make a huge play for the Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, it was no great move or anything. He dropped back 3 or 4 yards. Ben's looking right.
He was down low in his back pedal. Maybe he didn't see him. He got pretty...
They got lucky on that play.
Would have been the first pick of Curry's career.
Timeout, Seattle. That's their first charge. Timeout, 30-second timeout.
Seahawks use their first timeout. Curry still can't believe it.
When your offense is struggling, your special teams is struggling a little bit, somebody's got to step up and make a play. And we talked about Seattle's defense, you know, watching them on film, had a nice afternoon against San Francisco last week. And now Aaron Curry's got an opportunity to really just kind of infuse this team with some emotion and something positive for the first time. You've been being outplayed the entire first quarter. Now your defense steps up, makes a play. You got an opportunity for a touchdown. Ken Norton Jr., an old teammate of mine, having an opportunity to sit down and talk to Aaron about that. There's Leroy Hill. You know, hey guys, you know, we got an opportunity right there to make a huge play early in this game.
I think Aaron Curry was shocked that he threw the ball. You ain't gonna throw this, and all of a sudden it's in his hands and he just can't hold on to it.
Ken Norton Jr., only player to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls.
Traitor.
There will be more in the backfield. 3rd down and 5. Roethlisberger complete to Moore, and Moore has a first down to the Seahawks 39.
You know, Darryl, you mentioned it earlier about Ben Roethlisberger, his throw going a little bit high, and that one also we see his throw a little bit high. I'm wondering if he's having a hard time seeing over these guys, but right here we're seeing he's got an open pocket. He's trying to look some of the defenders off, and just not really throwing it to where you would see Ben throw it. Usually he has a nice spiral right to the chest. We're seeing everything elevated today.
Two tackles are both 6'6" Goose. First and 10 from the 39. Roethlisberger, nice touch to Wallace. And Wallace is down at the 23. Another Steelers first down.
I tell you, Seattle's being very aggressive. Earl Thomas on this throw, undercutting the route to Mike Wallace on the outside. Ben Roethlisberger better be careful right now because Pete Carroll's got that defense. They've got the green light to jump some things.
Roethlisberger steps up and gains 4 down to the 19-yard line. Al Woods made the tackle.
And Seattle's defensive line, they just keep coming and coming and coming. Let's take a look right here. Outside right there. Chris Clemens. Hey, that's what you got to do with Ben. You got to go. You got to, when somebody brings the pressure to the outside, you see him scrambling. Everybody's got to take their shot at him. He's too big of a guy. You got to tackle him high. If you go for his legs, he's still going to be able to get that ball off. You got to go and tackle him up top, around the arms.
Hard man to bring down. Here's Isaac Redman. Nice cut. He's in. Touchdown.
Take a look at Ramon Foster right here, the left guard. He's going to pull around. Kind of gets two guys right there, and then Isaac Redman just makes Cam Chancellor look silly in the secondary. Cam Chancellor's got to get the balance. He was running hard to his left. Good plant cut back to the middle of the field by Isaac Redman.
Squeeze in the extra point. First career rushing touchdown for Isaac Redman. Out of Division II, Bowie State. 14-0 Steelers.
Sponsored by Cadillac. By Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Darryl, you talked about the Seahawks' slow starts throughout the preseason. Last week they fell behind 16-0. Steelers have scored touchdowns on back-to-back possessions, and they now lead Seattle 14-0.
And we also talked about the fact that Pittsburgh lost the battle at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball against Baltimore. Well, that's not the case today. They've really taken it to Seattle here. And when you're a team on the road, the one thing you want to do is play well so you can get the fans out of it. Not the case here. The towels are flying.
Let's take a look at this score. You got Ramon Foster right here. This big man right here. And he's not only going to block 1, 2, he's going to block 3 guys. Watch as he pulls around. He goes and gets his body right there. Freeze it. He knocks off the whole wall of guys. That goes and opens it up for the touchdown right there.
Foster making the start today for the injured Chris Kimuatu at left guard. Steelers lead 14-0. Seahawks back to work as Jackson throws, and it's complete to the fullback, Eddie Williams. And Williams picks up a first down, gain of 17.
I mean, Tarvaris Jackson is standing back there in the pocket. Look at this offensive line. Watch this play. He goes, he drops back. Look at the defensive line stumped on the line of scrimmage. I mean, he has all day back there. You know, we were questioning Moffitt and Carpenter and Unger and seeing what kind of job they could do with this Steelers defensive line. They are stoning them right now.
Here's Lynch running behind that offensive line that Goose just talked about, and Marshawn Lynch gains 3 out to the 40.
Sometimes as a defensive lineman, you're so tuned in to go and stop in the run, which the Steelers and Darryl talked about in the open, trying to do, that you forget to convert when you go and recognize pass. The one thing you have to do is you have to go play the run, and when you see pass, you have to get off those guys, shed the blocks, and get penetration. That quarterback's going to pick you apart. I don't care who he is.
tight ends in the game. 2nd and 7. Wide receiver screen to Ben Obamanu. Another start today for Obamanu, replacing the injured Sidney Rice, and he is close to a Seahawks first down.
I agree with you, Tony. I think last week when you watched the Baltimore game, it wasn't the fact that it looked like the Steelers were moving slow. They weren't getting off blocks, and it's kind of the case again here today. That's a heck of a job right there by Zach Miller getting out and just blowing people up on the outside. But I agree, Tony, whether it's recognizing pass run or just not getting off those blocks.
First down, Lynch breaks a tackle, breaks another. And he picks up a tough yard as we head west to Kirk.
How about this on 3rd and 12 for the Saints? Drew Brees goes right down the middle of the field to Devery Henderson. Breaks a couple of tackles. 79 yards later, it's good for the score. And the Saints first lead over the Bears. 10-7 is the count in the second quarter. Getting loose and loose.
Something we didn't see from that Atlanta team last week against the Bears, huh, Darryl?
No, it's something you usually don't see against the Chicago Bears. They really guard against those big chunk plays in the pass game.
Jackson on 2nd and 9, directing traffic. And he throws as he was hit. And the catch is made. What a catch by the second-year receiver out of Notre Dame, Golden Tate. And the Steelers, 47, a gain of 6.
Coming from the outside, getting pressure on Tarvaris Jackson. That's how you shed the block. Get off the block, recognize it, get to the quarterback, force that throw. And again, I don't know if they're trying to do these hitch and goes on the outside, the double move. That's the reason Tarvaris Jackson held it that time. And I was impressed that they were actually able to get anything positive on that play.
Split backs, 3rd down and 4. Penalty marker as Jackson's pass is batted down at the line. But a flag at midfield.
Before the snap, false start. Number 76. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
The left tackle, Russell Okung.
We'll go back and take a look at the finish of that previous play. Golden Tate goes up. There's 1 down. There's 2. That's nice work on the sideline, just to get something positive out of that last play that broke down.
And they maintained possession of the football as well. 3rd down and 9 following the penalty. Seahawks must get to the Pittsburgh 43. Jackson again with time. He fires a bit high. Intended for Obamanu. Ike Taylor on the coverage.
No, but Ben Obamano's got to make this catch. I mean, it may be a bit high, but to me it looked like he mistimed his jump. Going to be coming from the top right here. Plenty of yards for the first down. Turns Ike Taylor around. He's got to make that catch. That was right through his hands.
Ryan punting for the 3rd time. Angled towards the sideline, taken at the 7 by Antonio Brown. Good return last time. Brown cut down shy of the 20 by Atari Bigby. Mendenhall the first. Pittsburgh touchdown, and then Isaac Redmond. 14-0 Pittsburgh. Welcome back. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa here in Pittsburgh. Steelers now to a 14-0 lead over the Seahawks.
1st and 10, Steelers ball at the 17-yard line.
Steelers start from their own 17-yard line. They've scored touchdowns on each of their last 2 possessions.
Black 80. Ace. Blue 30. Blue 30.
Quick out to Mike Wallace. And Wallace has a Steeler first down out to the 29, gain of 12.
I think that was an adjustment just between Mike Wallace and Ben Roethlisberger, because they had Hines Ward motioned in. Looked like they were going to go with the running play. He pops up, gets that quick screen out to the left. Put Mike Wallace in one-on-one situations. Tremendous breakaway speed.
Wallace averages just under 20 yards per reception over his 3-year career.
Black 80.
From the 29 on first down, here is Mendenhall. He's bottled up. Matt McCoy, first Seahawk in on the tackle, gain of just 1.
No down, man down here on the field. You really don't get the feeling that this is the Pittsburgh team of last year or even when we played. Usually they're real smooth, they got a tempo, they're making big plays. I'm not seeing that or feeling that down here on the field. For some reason, they're making mistakes and they're just not as smooth as they used to be.
Yes, they lead 14-0, second down and 9. Roethlisberger complete to Emmanuel Sanders for a Steelers first down.
And one of the things that they'll do also, Tony, when you get into that position, they'll jump into that no-huddle situation and try and create that tempo that you're talking about. But, if they're a little out of sync, it shows you the talent level that they have. They are up 14-0. They've been moving the ball very efficiently offensively down the field, but
maybe the pace is exactly what I'm not feeling. I know they're up 14. It's just a pace. I would think that the Steelers would come out. You have that big play we just saw right there. Boom, come back with another one. You need to put them together.
Number 44 on first down. Mendenhall across midfield. When you think about it, 3 of the big plays so far today for the Steelers, the pass interference penalty in the end zone on Browner, the big punt return by Brown, and the pass thrown by the wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders.
I remember playing against the Steelers, when I played with the Ravens. And the one thing about the Steelers that really kept you off balance as a defender was after they had a play, they came back and they just came right at you again. Boom, they're on the line of scrimmage. The pace is picking up here right now, I feel it. But, and they just kept hitting you and hitting and hitting, and they didn't let up.
Second and 2 from the Seahawks 48. Here's Mendenhall. And Mendenhall picks up another first down as he gains 10, finally tackled by Red Bryant.
that time they jump in right behind Marcus Gilbert, their rookie tackle, starting out there on the right side. Again, we got some of these young guys that are getting their first opportunity going up against Big Red Bryant. Gets him stoned at the line of scrimmage. Good hustle by Red down the field to make the tackle.
There's Gilbert, rookie out of Florida, second-round pick, making his NFL debut. Filling in for Willie Colon, who missed all of last season and was placed on injured reserve this week. Redmond, 36.
Here's that area again we talked about earlier, down when they cross that 30 or 40, when they come with those gadget plays. Wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh's thinking that way.
Yeah, they might take a look at what Cam Chancellor's doing right here, because there's one of your safeties that we talked about. Watch him on the support on the backside. Great technique, great position. He gets up, he's got contained. He actually takes on David Johnson, the tight end, who has an opportunity to kick him out. Submarines that, comes in and gets Isaac Redmond. That's a nice play.
Got a piece of the leg there, got an opportunity to grab the ankle too after that submarine.
Second down and 8. Redmond stumbles forward, stays on his feet. And is finally down at the 32, so third down and 4 coming up for the Steelers.
Maybe they just decided to go a little bit old school today, Tony.
Exactly.
You know, get that Pittsburgh ground game going again that we were used to growing up as kids watching the Steelers play. You know, with Franco Harris and Rocky Blyer. And even Jerome Bettis during that era, you know, they came in here, they just, you know, pounded. You know, since they've gotten Ben Roethlisberger, they've gone to more 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. So maybe just a little foray back into the good old days for the Steeler offense.
So here you see him spread out right here for a while.
Roethlisberger on third down and 4. And his pass is caught for a first down by Wallace.
I think the speed and the agility of the Pittsburgh Steelers off the line of scrimmage. Look at the distance off right here as you start that ball. They like to press. I mean, Pete Carroll would like to be able to press. Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, I think they would like to be able to press a little bit more. It's part of their nature as a defensive staff. but with the speed and the athleticism of the wide receivers for the Steelers, I think they're respecting that, and you're seeing them starting to take advantage of that cushion right now. We'll see if there's any change as the game progresses. Because I think Ben and this group of wide receivers are going to make them pay if they're going to play 6-yard cushions.
Charge timeout.
Steelers use their final timeout of this first half. Just under 4 minutes remaining. Second quarter. Steelers on the move, leading by 4. Steelers use their final timeout. They lead 14-0. First and 10 from the Seahawks 22.
Block 80. Block 80.
Roethlisberger moving to his right. He throws, and catch is made by Hines Ward, and he is upended by Walter Thurman. Down by Thurman.
Ben Roethlisberger needs to get this ball out a little quicker right now. Get it to him that first time, but after the throw, after Walter Thurman kind of comes up and takes the legs out from underneath Hines Ward, Ben Roethlisberger went to Rashard Mendenhall on the other side, so there was some kind of confusion on that play. I think he was expecting him to be somewhere else.
Can't let Raheem Brock either, number 98 for the Seattle Seahawks, come free. No one even touched him.
And maybe that's what it was. Maybe Rashard went the wrong way and he expected to have a little bit of an escort.
10th play of the drive for the Steelers. Heath Miller at the 4-yard line, setting up first and goal for Pittsburgh, and there is a flag. Roethlisberger is down.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 98 defense. Going to the knees of the quarterback. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Raheem Brock. You just mentioned him, Goose, number 98.
Now, he may have tripped over somebody. He may be falling. It wasn't intentional. But you have to be in control of your own body. If you're going to be stumbling going towards the quarterback, you've got to veer off. You are not going to get any leeway whatsoever. Up here on the top, works the spin move. You can see as Marcus Gilbert, loses that spin move, he kind of kicks his leg back, and Raheem Brock trips over it as he's coming in, but he is still responsible for where he hits the quarterback.
We talked earlier about Tarvaris Jackson being a tough guy. Tell you what, Ben Roethlisberger's one of the toughest quarterbacks that I know.
You had a look at Charlie Batch, number 2 on the depth chart behind Roethlisberger. Byron Leftwich was in camp with the Steelers, but he was placed on injured reserve after suffering a broken arm. So here comes the 14-year veteran. He started 2 games last year, the Pittsburgh native, Charlie Batch. With Roethlisberger watching from the sidelines.
Just outside the 1. 57. 57. Y'all good?
First and goal from the 2. Mendenhall followed up, loses a yard. Chris Clemens leading the way along with Marcus Trufant.
Well, when you first heard the call, my biggest concern is, was it intentional? Did Raheem Brock go in and go low on Ben Roethlisberger? That's not the case at all. He spins inside. You see the leg whip right there. You get beat inside. It's just a reaction. You're going to do whatever you can. Marcus Gilbert kicks that leg up. It actually trips Raheem Brock, and he falls into Ben Roethlisberger.
And you could see the concern that Brock had after the play as he remained in the vicinity of Roethlisberger. Second and goal from the 3. Redmond. And this will take us to the 2-minute warning.
Tell you what, Red Bryant came right through that offensive line with penetration.
Third and goal, back in for the Steelers after sitting out 2 plays.
Yeah, I know it could be a critical third down situation right here, but you have confidence in Charlie Batch. I'd have left him in to finish his drive out, got Ben in at halftime, brought him out in the 3rd quarter.
So here's Roethlisberger taking the snap on 3rd and goal. He throws to the end zone, It was intended for Hines Ward, deflected on the way in.
Keep an eye on Hines Ward right here, right across the middle. He's Ben's go-to guy. This is just before Ben comes back into the game. No, Darryl, I got to agree with you. He just, after that play also, he got hit a little bit, but it doesn't look like he has his feet underneath him right now. And that Charlie Batch, I would have also kept him in here to try and finish that. I mean, it's only one play.
Here's Sean Sweezum connecting from 20 yards out, extending the Steelers' lead to 17-0. Well, this Wednesday, it's time to face the music. Simon Cowell is back with Paula Abdul, Nicole Scherzinger, and L.A. Reid. And they're searching for singers with the X Factor. Don't miss television's next big event, the X Factor. The two-night premiere begins this Wednesday at 8, 7 Central, only on Fox.
Good to have Simon Cowell back. I always liked him on American Idol. I like his honesty.
Absolutely. Would you say Goose is our X Factor?
He could be our Simon Cowell. Painfully honest at times, in a nice way.
I'm honest, but I'm no Simon Cowell. Come on, that guy is... Look at his hair. Are you kidding me?
He's got nice hair. You got to go somewhere else for that.
Simon Cowell, he wish he looked like this.
Yeah, big thing, Tony, with that on that last play is as a quarterback, you throw with your legs. And it's one of the things that, a lot of people, have a little bit of difficulty grasping that concept. You've got the rotation with the arm and the upper body. But if his legs are bothering him, if that knee is bothering him, then that's going to impact his ability to throw the football. I really don't understand that. I'd have him in at halftime, get him in a little bit early, and then bring him out in the third quarter.
Couldn't agree with you more, Darryl.
Seahawks will start from their own 20 with a minute 52 remaining. They have 2 timeouts. Coming up, the Visa Halftime Report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They'll be along with scores and highlights and up to the second stats. That's all coming up during the Visa Halftime Report. How about Jake Laser reporting during our pregame show that Peyton Manning flew to Europe to undergo stem cell therapy?
Yeah, how about that? I'll tell you what, it's just not the same. And nobody means more to the team than Peyton Manning.
Jackson in trouble with the snap. And he loses a couple of yards. Down at the 18.
This is actually a half of missed opportunities by the Pittsburgh Steelers. You take a look right there. Snap's perfect. He just took his eyes off it for a second. Lucky that it came back to him. But we're sitting at 17-0. It really should be 28-0 for Pittsburgh right now. I mean, they have absolutely dominated the first half.
False start, number 76 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Second time Okung has been flagged today. Steelers on their opening drive, getting back to your point. Stopped at the 1 on 4th and goal. Settled for nothing. And then on that last drive, they had 1st and goal from the 4. Second down and 17 following the penalty. Jackson's pass is caught by Obamanu at the 21-yard line.
We talked about Pittsburgh putting it together. Seattle really needs to go and put a good drive together. We just haven't been consistent with finishing. You see it up on the scoreboard, that big goose egg right here. I mean, they need to put something on the board.
Seahawks with only 3 first downs. They brought only 16 offensive plays to the Steelers' 36.
It's just dominated by Pittsburgh. Another slow start by the Seattle Seahawks.
They trailed 16-0 at halftime last week in San Francisco. No real sense of urgency here on this drive from the Seahawks. They let the clock run all the way down to 40 seconds and now
Seattle.
use their second
Before
timeout.
the play clock expired. Second charge timeout. 32nd.
Well, I talked about John Moffitt and James Carpenter, the 2 rookies who are playing side by side. You see them right here. They have really shocked me. I thought that we were going to see this Pittsburgh Steelers defense go after these guys. But one thing Seattle offensively hasn't done, I've been almost scoring it like a fight. The first possession, 3 and out, they lost. Second possession, they're doing pretty good. They're not doing bad, but then all of a sudden they go and have that punt return for 41 yards, lose. And then the third possession, they get 2 first downs. Steelers really don't do nothing, so I gave them a draw. And this is going to be the 4th possession. We'll see what they do here.
Third down and 9. Inside handoff to Forsett. And Forsett is close to a first down. It will depend on the spot. You see our yellow line across the 30. And the Seahawks did pick up the first. Concern, of course, on the Steelers side is Ben Roethlisberger gingerly makes his way down the stairs. Final play, drawing a defensive penalty of this first half. As Jackson is tackled at the 35 by Larry Foote. No flags, and that will do it.
Well, it's a first half absolutely dominated by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we warned about Seattle getting off to a slow start. They had a couple of opportunities to maybe steal some plays early on, didn't do it, but just look at the control that Pittsburgh has had here in the first half. Double the plays, triple the yardage, and double the time of possession. So Seattle, it was important for them to come in here on the road into this stadium and have something positive in the first half. Don't put your offense behind the 8 ball. And we talked about line of scrimmage battles last week for the Steelers. They won both ways. You heard Tony score his matchup with the offensive and defensive line, but the Pittsburgh Steelers won the battle at the line of scrimmage. It leads to a 17-0 halftime lead.
Roethlisberger missed 2 plays, came too long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Steelers lead the Seahawks 17-0 as we welcome you back. Kenny Albert along with Darryl Johnston. 17-0 Pittsburgh. You said it could be 28-0. Steelers dominating the line of scrimmage.
They really did, and that was the big issue last week. Baltimore controlled the line of scrimmage against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin calling it a popcorn game. There were issues all across the board. It was hard for them to focus on one thing specifically, so just do it in a big general area. Hey, we got to control the line of scrimmage. When you see the halftime stats, you're going to see what we're talking about. Pittsburgh dominated. The only thing I think Mike Tomlin might be upset about, they missed the conversion on 4th and goal from inside the 1-yard line, and then that last drive to end the first half, they have to settle for a field goal when they've got 1st and goal at the 4. So they need to finish a little bit better, but some of the issues that were there last week, they've got them cured.
Look at Ben Roethlisberger as he makes his return to the field for the second half. Came out for 2 plays, back in for 1, the halftime numbers. Seahawks only 4 first downs. They had only 3 in the first half last week against San Francisco as we check it downstairs with Goose.
What's up there, Kenny? I had an opportunity to go and talk. Where am I at here? Oh, there I am. Okay, I had an opportunity to talk to Mike Tomlin, and I told him, Mike, exactly what me and you talked about, Darryl, about, I'm not feeling something. There's something with the Pittsburgh Steelers that I'm not feeling. And he goes, I understand exactly what it is. Offensively, defensively, and special teams-wise, we're not feeding off each other. We're not getting our momentum. Usually we do that as a group, but we haven't, and that's something I'm going to talk about going into halftime.
Goose, I loved your quickness with that spin move, a complete 180.
I'm practicing for Dancing with the Stars or something, Kenny. Trying. Loosen it up a little bit.
Well, we chatted with Hines Ward about his appearance on Friday, and we all feel, Goose, all of our crew members, that you would be perfect.
Yeah, or the X Factor. I think the X Factor, la 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 la. I'm telling you, I'm going to work on that a little bit, Kenny, but I'll get back to you.
Somebody shut his mic, please. On second down, Leon Washington is stuffed by Lamar Woodley.
And this looks like one of those overloaded formations, too. You're going to bring both your tackles over there. You've got James Carpenter and Russell Okung together, and it doesn't matter. You're trying to double with your tight end, Zach Miller there, and Lamar Woodley just fights through everything and shuts that down.
I think they talked at halftime, Darryl, and heard us about shedding the blocks, and they said, instead of shedding them, we'll just take the guy with us into the backfield. That's exactly what we saw.
Third down and 5 for Tarvaris Jackson and the Seahawks. Opening drive of the second half. Jackson to the outside. Nice attempt, but Doug Baldwin, the rookie out of Stanford, unable to hold on. William Gay on the coverage, made contact.
There's Doug Baldwin working the slot. Inside comes out. A nice route design right there. A little rub there that forces the defender to go over the top.
I'll tell you what, right up the middle, Aaron Smith. You know, we talked how good those two rookies, Moffitt and Carpenter, were doing, but Moffitt just totally whiffed on that last play.
John Ryan punting for the 4th time. End over end kick. Again angled towards the sideline. Out of bounds at the 33, so no chance for a return by Antonio Brown. Good news for Steeler fans, the return of Roethlisberger.
It's time to engineer amazing. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Beautiful Sunday afternoon in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers have won their last 8 home openers. They start from the 33-yard line. Ben Roethlisberger back in the game. His 2 plays late in the first half came back for 1. And he hands it off to Rashard Mendenhall. Scored the Steelers' first touchdown, gained 51 yards on the ground. In the first half, Leroy Hill makes the tackle.
Tell you what, in the backfield, you got a tight end back there, David Johnson. Darryl, did you see his stance on that last play? I mean, right here on the bottom right. I mean, he was down. He's got to go. You got to work with him, Darryl. You got to talk with him. He's got to get in a better stance. Horrible 3-point stance.
Johnson listed as both a fullback and a tight end on the depth chart. Not really a fullback number, Darryl.
No, he can't have 80s in the back.
Now on 2nd and 10, Lance Ward as Roethlisberger took another hit after the pass. And he will get right back up.
Well, this is the risk you run. He's in there. Now, that time, Anthony Hargrove comes in low. You know, to me, yeah, I'm agree with you, Ben. You know, hey, you know, if you're going to call the one where the guy stumbles, how about when the guy just dives in at my knees?
Three wide receivers set, 3rd down and 9. Roethlisberger throws. He was looking for Mike Wallace. Steelers will send out the punting unit.
It's going to be important for that Steeler offensive line and the running game to kind of take over this second half. Don't put a lot of pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, where he's got to be back in that pocket, making plays in the passing game to keep this momentum going.
First punt today for Daniel Sepulveda. Mike Tomlin asked about positives last week. He said, well, Sepulveda punted well.
He did again. Too well.
Rolls into the end zone for a touchback, 66 yards on the punt and roll. Steelers go 3 and out for the first time, but coaching staff, fans very happy to see Roethlisberger back out on the field.
Yeah, and regardless of how he feels physically, he knows he should have made that last throw. Keep that offense out on the field. A little frustration there by Ben Roethlisberger not being able to get that done.
So now the Seahawks trailing by 17, start from their own 20-yard line. Look out to Golden Tate. Second catch today. Forced out by Lawrence Timmons, gain of 7.
Like Troy Polamalu there towards the end of that play, getting a little frustrated, not hitting people there in the backfield. You watch right here, Tate goes to the outside, missed it. Troy wants to get a little action in there, look like.
We haven't called his name all afternoon, guys.
No. Trying to stay away from him. He's a guy who really turned the game around for you.
The reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Pete Carroll, knows him well, coached him at USC. Second down and 3, Marshawn Lynch. Lynch gains a yard to the 28.
There's some good team defense right there. Just stretch it. Everybody maintain your gap responsibility. Marshawn Lynch is just going to keep looking for a spot to run. They force him all the way to the sideline. So the fundamentals that we talked about, that Dick LeBeau wanted his guys to work on, squaring up in the hole, not allowing the backs to fall forward, know your responsibility, really showing up well this afternoon in their performance as a defense.
Dick LeBeau, Hall of Fame, class of 2010. empty backfield on third down. This is Justin Forsett. And he looks to fight his way to the 30-yard line. It will depend on forward progress.
This is good recognition by the Steelers defense from this formation. Got everybody bunched up down here. You're going to be alert for that little quick screen. Comes out to the left. I mean, just jumped immediately by the Steelers. And then everybody rallies around. Ryan Clark, the first guy there, forces him back to the inside. All for naught, though. They got a good spot.
The first time the Seahawks have converted on third down today. From the 30 on 1st and 10. Jackson steps up, avoids the pressure. And now we call Polamalu's name, Goose.
All you need to do is get him started a little bit with one little hit, and then he runs it off.
I think the great thing about what Dick LeBeau and Mike Tomlin have done with Troy Polamalu is allowed him to be a football player. You know, just trust your instincts, trust your eyes. Look where he starts from. He's going to end up making the play all the way down there. And this is play action. He's covering the tight end. Great closing speed. But I like the fact that Pittsburgh allows him and trusts him enough to just recognize, trust what you see, and go make a play.
On 2nd and 10, Jackson with time. Now he dumps it off over the middle. Pass was intended for Marshawn Lynch. James Harrison on the coverage.
Yeah, James Harrison dropped out. I think he was rushing the passer and saw him Lynch sneak out and decided he was going to cover him. Almost had a pick there.
You got to credit Dick LeBeau right now, Tony, because we're not seeing that exotic Pittsburgh blitz package and the pressure package with that zone blitz scheme that we see. They're kind of just rushing true for, dropping a lot of guys in coverage and really challenging Tarvaris Jackson to find the open man. Not having much luck.
Third down and 10. Jackson to the outside. And that is Mike Williams. But he was out of bounds when he made the catch.
Mike Williams working on the top of the screen. Pushes it up to the numbers. It's got to be on time. You see that? As he makes that break, that's a timing route. That's got to come out a little bit earlier by Tarvaris Jackson. You throw it to the spot. He waits a tick too long, and it ends up being completed out of bounds.
Williams without a catch today. Seahawks leading receiver a season ago. End over end punt by Ryan, taken at the 24 by Brown. Tackle back at the 29-yard line. So Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers offense back out leading by 17. In coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile, call ** NFL to get NFL action on your mobile phone. Steelers losing in Baltimore last Sunday, 35-7. Ben Roethlisberger told us I was over it Sunday night. We lead this game 17-0. 1st and 10. From the 29-yard line as Mendenhall loses a couple.
Well, we just talked about Troy Polamalu for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and let's not forget we got a couple of good safeties on the other side. Here he comes right through the middle. Great timing, great anticipation. Needs to wrap up a little bit better. You're going to see him come in here and just kind of throw that shoulder through and not get a true wrap up. But yeah, even Ben Roethlisberger said, you know, when I watch Earl Thomas play, he reminds me of Bob Sanders from the Indianapolis Colts.
56. Black 80. Hey, 57. Black 80.
On 2nd down and 12, delay to Mendenhall, cuts it to the outside. On down to the 36-yard line by Cam Chancellor. Gain of 8 for Rashard Mendenhall.
That's the beauty of having a strong running game. You get into a 2nd and 10 situation and you don't have to go to the air. You can turn around, hand it off to your running back, have the confidence that he's going to put you in a manageable 3rd down distance.
Mendenhall 7th in the league last year, over 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, scored the Steelers' first touchdown today.
52-27. Hey, Raymond, Raymond. Yeah.
3rd down and 3. Steelers must get to the 39, and they do, as you heard Roethlisberger. Miscommunication with Brown before the play, and Antonio Brown gains 14 for a first down.
I know you talked about it earlier, Dow, but the cushion that these defensive backs, I mean, look at them all. It is amazing. You know, you got 4 yards to go, and they're 7 yards back. I don't know how they're given that kind of cushion, expecting to go and stop the Steeler offense.
And you know that's got to be difficult for Gus Bradley and Pete Carroll because, you know, pressing on the outside is one of the things that they like to have as part of their defensive scheme. And I just think it's a tribute to the athleticism of these wide receivers for the Steelers.
First and 10 from midfield, a slant to Wallace. And Mike Wallace has another Steelers first down as he gains 23.
I mean, right now you're basically forcing Seattle to make an adjustment. If you're going to sit here and play, we're just going to keep picking you apart. Now that time they try and do a little bit of press with Brandon Browner, but you know he's not matching up on the outside. Look at beat right away, right to the inside by Mike Wallace.
I mean, Browner's 6'4", 221 pounds. He played up in the CFL up in Canada. He needs, if he's going to play press, he needs to get up on him and be a little bit more physical. I mean, he's just letting him run. He's not even getting a hand on him the first 5.
He spent the last 4 years in Calgary. Steelers set up the screen to Mendenhall. Cuts to his right. There is a flag. Mendenhall inside the 15. Another flag. And finally tackled at the 10-yard line. 2 penalty markers on the play. So we will hear from Bill Levy.
Personal foul. Clipping, number 64. Offense, 15-yard penalty. First down.
Right guard, Doug Legursky.
Yeah, Doug Legursky, keep an eye on this. He's coming here to the outside. I mean, there he goes down on right there. I mean, you got to go and stay up. You can't go down on the guy's legs like that. I know we try to protect the quarterbacks, but try and stick up for some of those linemen.
Right, that's just that's a big no-no. However you look at that one, Tony, I mean, it's completely wrong. I mean, you know, there's rules put in place, and you and I talk a lot about, you know, who they protect and who they don't protect, but there's a code of conduct from all the players, and that's one of the things you just don't do. You don't take that shot on a guy.
And number 90, Al Woods, from the Seahawks defender right there that got that clip, he didn't even see him coming. He was facing the complete opposite way. That's when you can get really hurt.
First down at 25. Roethlisberger hits Wallace again. And we will head to Los Angeles for a game break. Kurt, what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens and the Titans?
Well, the former Seahawks quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, little pitch on 4th and 1 to Javon Ringer, trying to help the Titans pull the upset. That put them in the lead 17-10 at home against Baltimore in the 3rd. Kenny Moose and Goose.
A little bit of a letdown by your Ravens, maybe, Goose?
I don't know. Sometimes you think you're better than you really are. I mean, they had a great game plan last week, and you know the turnovers really helped us. 7 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you know, again, what Coach told us, we met with the Steelers. It was Dick LeBeau, and he said, you know, in a card game, it doesn't matter if you win one big hand. It's who leaves with the money at the end of the night.
Roethlisberger on 2nd and 19 fires, and the pass is caught by Antonio Brown, about a yard shy. And the Steelers first down, gain of 18.
This is the momentum we talked about, right, Darryl? This is what you're used to seeing when you see the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger in the pocket, throwing downfield, making a big play, getting right back up to the line of scrimmage. Let's do it again. And they're marching down the field.
What is that? Hey, 5 down, y'all. 5 down.
Roethlisberger on 3rd and short, looks to his left, finally throws out of bounds.
No. What a great catch.
Wow. What a catch by Ward. Seahawks can't believe it.
Well, we all saw his footwork. You can do the pass to Doble and the quick step. You can make this thing work on the sideline.
One more look.
That is outstanding.
Yeah, before they went this stretch, Ben throws Hines Ward. That same exact play. Saw it in warm-ups.
First and goal from the 4, Mendenhall. Mendenhall to the 2.
This has been an area that Pittsburgh has struggled in. If there's one sore point right now for Mike Tomlin, it would be his offense when they get down here inside the 5-yard line. Seattle has won the majority of these battles. Stopped him on a 4th and goal inside the 1 and forced him to kick a field goal on another possession.
Tell you what, Brandon Mebane, number 92, defensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. He is stout there in the middle. He's holding up two guys. They tried to double team him on that last play.
Block it up. On second and goal, Roethlisberger to the end zone. Wallace. Touchdown.
Sometimes you go back to the well one too many times. You keep running that same play. We've seen this formation quite a bit today, Goose, and they've run Rashard Mendenhall right in here. Now, you show that formation, and what do? You just pop up and throw the fade to the outside, and it looked like Brandon Browner might have been peeking inside and allowed Mike Wallace that easy release to the pylon.
Sways in the extra point. 24-0 Steelers.
Rough in here on defense. If you're going to press, you need to stone him right here on the line of scrimmage. You can't let him run free. Watch Mike Wallace, what he does. Goes, little fake right there, never gets a hand on him. You can't stop this play without going and give him some kind of shiver right on the line of scrimmage, and that's why they scored on that play.
Shiver.
Ron Washington takes it out of the end zone and is met at the 12. Arnaz Battle, the Steelers special teams captain, getting downfield in a hurry. Begins later today following football in high def on Fox. Two legendary rivals. They have won the last 7 titles between them.
You got to tune in and watch that. You talk about storied franchises in the NFL. If you're not a fan of English Premier Soccer, those are two of the more storied franchises over there.
Jackson nearly picked off by Polamalu.
Man, opportunity. Troy Polamalu right in the right position, just goes and fumbles the ball a little bit. He sees it. Look at how he goes and just goes right after it. He knows the ball's going there, and that was 7 right there. And
you can't coach that, Goose. I mean, again, that goes to
instinct.
The trust that they have with Troy Polamalu to just, hey, you've got the green light. Go make us a play.
Second and 10. Jackson to the outside. First catch today for Mike Williams. Seattle finally eclipses 100 yards of offense.
Yeah, it's been tough sledding for him. And, sometimes you just catch a team on the wrong day, and I really think that Seattle, as a young team that's in the midst of a transition, they caught Pittsburgh on the wrong day.
Seahawks have only 5 first downs today. And a penalty marker is thrown. Pass intended for Williams once again. William Gay on the coverage.
There's no foul for chop block. 4th down.
I know you love that one, Tony.
Yeah, no penalty for the chop block. They do not want to call that. This is a pass play right here. Now, you can't be engaged with a player and go down on his legs. I think it's right there. Max Unger looks like he slipped a little bit, but the officials are looking for that. Baltimore last week did it to Pittsburgh a little bit, the chop block, and everybody's been talking about it all week. So the officials are really focused in on making sure that chop block is legal if they decide to do it.
Some extracurricular
right there.
Extracurricular activity involving Curtis Brown. Our rules analyst, Mike Pereira, former head of officiating in the National Football League, certainly heard the discussion this week, Mike, following that Ravens-Steelers game last week about the chop blocks.
Yeah, here's the rule. It's not an illegal chop block if 2 players post and chop a defender, as long as those 2 players are lined up right next to each other, which is what the Ravens did. They chopped with the center and the right guard. That's not a foul. It's only a foul if you chop with the center and then the right tackle, that would be a different story. But I think it's the most confusing rule that maybe clubs don't understand at this point, that whether you like the chopping action or not, on the backside of the run, it's legal to chop with two linemen that are lined up right next to each other.
It might be legal, Mike, but it's unethical in my opinion. You know, we talk about players' safety and about, you know, can't go at the quarterback's legs. You know, we have to look at the linemen once in a while. You know, somebody has to represent them, and I think that's me. You shouldn't be able to be engaged with a guy and go down on his legs, period. Okay? If you're not good enough to go and block a guy one-on-one, that's just something that really bothers me.
You know, I understand that you'd be bothered by that, and I can understand why you would be. But, you know, here's the notion from the committee standpoint. I'm only representing them, that if you're a defensive player lined up with two guys side by side, that you can anticipate a high-low from two guys. You can't anticipate it from one player that's a one-man removed. So it is difficult and it is dangerous. But the committee also balances how difficult it is to run the ball, and they've eliminated clips, blocked below the knees, and close line play. They have taken some steps.
Yeah, they have, and they need to eliminate, you know, chop blocks altogether.
All right, thanks, Mike. That pass was intended for Hines Ward, so 3rd down and 9 coming up.
Great suit, by the way, Mike. I think I saw that one on one of the guys on The Sopranos. Beautiful job.
Hey, Goose, how about we make a trade? We'll take a look at the chop block if you guys stop holding the offensive lineman from climbing to the second level.
Well, listen, if you're going to move the umpire from behind the defensive lineman to the other side of the field, you're going to get, you're going to get a little bit of that holding. I got a guy right next to me, Dermontti Dawson, the best player I've ever played against. I wanted to say that right now. Who's standing right next to me. A lot of guys like to come down and visit the Goose booth down here. When you get a guy like that on the scoop block, it's hard not to go and hold.
Mike Wallace. What a catch at the Seahawks 20-yard line. 53 yards.
Now there's the guy you need to hold right there, Mike Wallace, with the speed he has there.
You know, the big thing is you worry about it, and you tell all your players about it, but Ben Roethlisberger on the move, extending the play. Watch this catch at the end. I mean, he's following that ball all the way down. He's got to pull that thing like off the blades of grass, and then he controls it all the way through. Goes through the process of the catch.
You know, I love the catch down. You're absolutely right, but it started in the beginning of the play. Once again, Brandon Browner does not touch the receiver. If you're going to let Mike Wallace go and run free, that's exactly what you're going to get time and time again.
Penalty marker as Roethlisberger handed off to Rashard Mendenhall.
Number 72 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's on the left tackle, Jonathan Scott. There is Dermontti Dawson, represented the Steelers in 7 Pro Bowls.
One of the best to ever play the position.
That's one guy, you know, I was known to go out a little bit every now and then on Wednesday and Thursday, but when I played this guy right here next to me, I was in bed at 8 o'clock on Thursday night, man. I got my sleep because I knew it was going to be a war on Sunday.
Good to see Dermontti with Goose down in the end zone this afternoon. Wallace still trying to catch his breath. His 5th consecutive 100-yard receiving game in the regular season, dating back to last year. First down and 20 following the penalty as Roethlisberger is sacked back at the 41-yard line by the combination of Chris Clemens and Raheem Brock.
They just collapsed the pocket on Ben Roethlisberger on this one. He's got nowhere to go, and that's what you have to do. We'll take a look at the coverage this time. At least Brandon gets an arm on Antonio Brown on that play. Tony's been talking about it during the course of the day. They come up and they get into a press look, but they're not getting a jam at the line of scrimmage. They're getting a free release.
Time winding down here in the 3rd quarter.
Free play.
Roethlisberger fires downfield on 2nd and 29. It's broken up by Chancellor. Movement prior to the snap.
Incomplete intended for Sanders. Flag on the play.
Hopefully both of those guys are all right. That's a tough loss right there for the Seattle secondary if you lose Marcus Trufant and Cam Chancellor on the same play.
There were fouls against both teams. Illegal formation. The wide receiver covered the tight end. There was offside on the defense, number 91. Those penalties offset. The quarter is over. 4th down.
So the Steelers take a 24-0 lead into the 4th. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages from your local. This time these teams met in the regular season back in 2007. Steelers shut out the Seahawks 21-0. It's 24-0 Pittsburgh as we begin the 4th quarter here today. Second down and 29 for Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Empty backfield. Roethlisberger fires, and it's off the hands of Emmanuel Sanders.
Just like we saw in that first quarter, Dow, with the ball sailing a little high again.
Yeah, had a couple get away from him last week. You remember he told us the one interception he threw. I have no idea what happened on that one. I had my guy there, he's wide open, and I let it go, and it just took off on me. And he's had a couple that have had the same thing happen to him again this afternoon.
47-52.
3 interceptions, 2 fumbles lost last week. Roethlisberger committing 5 of the 7 Steelers turnovers. Clean game today, no turnovers on either side. Roethlisberger on 3rd and 29. Flings one, and the catch is made by Brown. Antonio Brown down at the 23, well shy of the marker, and the Steelers will send out the field goal unit.
Yeah, but it gives you a good chance to get some points here, getting your field goal kicker a little bit closer. And again, this is the danger with Ben Roethlisberger. He can make any throw. You see him right there. He's drifting backwards. He's not moving forward at all when he lets that ball go. And he's still able to get it downfield in a catchable location.
So Sean Sweezum, who hit from 20 yards out earlier, this time a 41-yard attempt from the right hash. Holman places it down. And Sweezum's kick is no good, wide to the right.
Yeah, the open end at this stadium is very dicey as a kicker.
So the Steelers' lead remains 24-0.
TV. This season NFL Sunday Ticket is included when you switch. And by Dodge Journey, the search engine for the real world.
Back in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers lead the Seahawks 24-0.
Getting that calf muscle loosened up, work some knots out. I need one of those done on my hip right now.
See if we can work something out. From the 31, best starting field position of the day for Seattle. First NFL reception for the rookie out of Georgia, 4th-round pick Chris Durham. And Durham gains 8.
Second down and 2.
Give him a very fair spot there.
Ball has been re-spotted. Marshawn Lynch back on the field, went to the locker room to have an issue with his hand checked out. And here is Lynch. Runs right into the arms of James Harrison.
Completely different from last week to this week with the Steelers defense. I mean, just everybody closing down in. You're going to watch James Harrison come from the left side of your screen. As soon as Marshawn Lynch stops to cut back inside to get away from Larry Foote, he's got James Harrison just barreling down on him. Didn't see a lot of that last week against the Baltimore Ravens. And let me tell you, the Seattle Seahawks took a long, hard look at that tape to try and implement some of the things that Baltimore did successfully, and they have not found any rhythm with it.
3rd down and 2. Off the play fake. Jackson forced to throw it away. Off the pressure from Ziggy Hood.
They took a look at all the fundamentals that went wrong in that game, and you can see the comparison from last week to this week. 170 yards rushing today, just 35 points. Now with 7 turnovers, you're going to have the opportunity for points, but the big thing was Baltimore just took it to the Steelers last week.
Back Emmanuel Sanders back deep for the Steelers.
Interesting decision inside the 5.
Takes it out to the 11. All Steelers today as they look for their first victory of the season following the disappointing Sunday afternoon in Baltimore.
We've been talking about winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, and the man in charge on the offensive side of the ball is Sean Kugler, the offensive line coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a good friend of mine from back in our high school days. Great to see him in the NFL. Spent some time with the Buffalo Bills and Jim McNally, now down here in Pittsburgh, and is doing a great job with those guys up front.
There's Mendenhall, and he's got a young group. Second-year man Pouncey, a Pro Bowler as a rookie, starting at center. Rookie at right tackle, and Marcus Gilbert. Third-year left guard, Ramon Foster. Third-year right guard, Doug Legursky.
And that's the big thing. You know, Chris Kimuatu was really the one guy they had that had been there for a while. You look at the center position, the right guard position, a lot of transition over the last 3 years. Then you've had some injuries out there at the tackle spot. So an offensive line that's been in flux, and that's the hardest thing for a coach is developing that chemistry when you've got new players being plugged in. But Sean's done a great job this afternoon having his guys ready to kind of put last week's performance against Baltimore in the back of in the rearview mirror there.
35-7 loss to the Ravens, and we spoke with Hines Ward on Friday, and he said Baltimore wanted it more than us, and he immediately knew that the teams will play again on November 6th.
And there's his group coming off the ball, trying to move that line of scrimmage. You want to play on the defensive side of the ball. It's a good surge right there by that offensive line group of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's the deep end of the pool, correct, Darryl?
Yes, that's the deep end. The shallow end is out on the perimeter.
Yeah, that's the deep end.
They're down at 5. And the Steelers will punt that pass in the vicinity of Hines Ward.
I think that pass also got away from a little bit, Darryl, over. I don't know who it was going to.
Well, let's see if there's a crossing route that maybe should have continued to move across the field. It looked like, you know, possibly Heath Miller should have continued across the field.
Looks like Mike Wallace got mugged a little bit on that play.
Here's Leon Washington.
Solid in every phase today, Kenny. Offense, defense, and special teams for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been solid in all 3 of those phases.
That time, Curtis Brown. All Steelers today, the home opener. Pittsburgh leading Seattle 24-0. Williams in motion. Seahawks start from their own 36. And Jackson is sacked by Larry Foote. Back at the 24.
They lulled them to sleep, Goose. They haven't brought a lot of pressure all afternoon.
We're going to wait till the 4th quarter. We're 11 minutes left in the game. Then we're going to bring the pressure. God, no one even touched Foote on that play.
Second down at 19. The screen to Forsett. And it's Ryan Clark who comes up. Make the tackle at the 37-yard line. Gain of 10.
Ryan Clark. The third down at 9.
A little late for this no huddle right here. They've got a great tempo going down here on the field. Good rhythm for this offense. This is the best I've seen them so far, Darryl.
Yeah, but this always happens. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the reasons it leads to these teams jumping in the no huddle early in the games. You know, certain points in the game, the defense is just trying not to give up the big play. And you see all this situations when you jump into this and you're moving the ball. And, hey, why don't we do that from the start?
Now Jackson bobbles the snap. And the pass is caught by Forsett. And this is the deepest penetration into Steelers territory by the Seahawks today.
That is the first time, as we snap the ball right here, this will be the first time that Seattle has actually started a play in Pittsburgh's end of the field.
We got lucky on that play also. The ball was snapped. Tarvaris not even looking.
They reached the 47 earlier, but committed a penalty and were forced back. Now Jackson fires and a nice catch. Third catch today made by the rookie from Georgia, Chris Durham.
Let's see if we can get somebody for Seattle to stretch the field. You know, their entire passing game today has been 15 yards or less. They're going to get back into this game. They're going to need to get some yards in chunks.
Playing for the second straight week without Sidney Rice.
So William Gay coming there to the right side. Now Tarvaris is turning his line to slide to the left. Try and pick him up.
From the 33. Jackson in trouble. Down he goes. For the second time this series. Steve McClendon.
One thing Seattle's got to realize, they don't bring a corner off the edge like that. They move William Gay. You see him down here at the bottom. But now all of a sudden they're coming from the left-hand side. I mean, don't just get set up because they go and they bring somebody as a decoy. But you got to block everybody up front there.
Second and 16. And that's the tight end, Zach Miller, who led the Raiders in receiving each of the last 3 seasons. Third down and 3. Pass intended for Ben Oblado. No flags. So the Seahawks now facing a 4th and 3 from the Steelers' 26. Steelers nearly 400 yards of total offense. Wallace, another 100-yard game. And for the Seahawks, their first trip into Steelers territory. 4th down and 3.
Game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Seahawks took too much time.
You're a little bit late coming out of that huddle. You come to the line of scrimmage and you're trying to get things checked. And this Steelers crowd making it difficult on Tarvaris Jackson right now.
Now 4th and 8 from the 31. Jackson on 4th down, moving to his right. Sacked again for the 3rd time this series. James Harrison following the sacks by Foot and McClendon. Welcome back, 24-0 Steelers. Pittsburgh taking over on downs following the 3rd sack of Tarvaris Jackson during that last Seahawks possession as Isaac Redmond takes it out to the 37.
Nick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator. Think he wants a shutout, Goose? Trying to throw up that goose egg?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All about points.
Now in his 39th season as a coach in the NFL, his first coaching job, special teams coach with the Eagles back in 1973. Mike Tomlin was 1. 180. Second down and 8. Redmond bottled up, cuts to the outside, and reaches out to the 39-yard line. What's going on with the Bears and the Saints? Kurt Menefee.
What's going on is it's all Saints. And a lot of it's Drew Brees, his 3rd touchdown pass of the game. Credit Darren Sproles for that one. 12 yards on the score. They lead it right now 30-13. Kenny Moose and Goose. Darren Sproles a better Reggie Bush than Reggie Bush these days.
Yeah, he's been a difference maker for them, Kurt. You saw that in the opening game against Green Bay with the big punt return and the element he brings to the offense. I'm surprised to see New Orleans handling Chicago as easily as they are today.
3rd down and 6. Pass broken up by Marcus Trufant, intended for Antonio Brown.
Looked like Antonio Brown thought he was on a clear-out route. That Ben wasn't going to be looking in his direction. He has his eyes working the other side of the field, and I don't know Antonio thought that was coming his way.
That's one thing Ben's been doing all day. He's been trying to look off the defensive backs a little bit in the first half, but got smart real fast.
Punt bounces into the end zone for a touchback. So the Seahawks will start from their own 20. Get ready for television's biggest night, the 63rd Primetime Emmy Awards, hosted by Jane Lynch. Be there for the laughter, the surprises, and the red carpet pre-show event. The 63rd Primetime Emmy Awards live tonight right here on Fox.
Goose, you should be flying out there for the Emmys. You'd be a good.
I am.
You could be a seat filler when they get up to go to the bathroom. You could jump in their seats for them.
I am. What do you mean? I'm going out.
There you are, right there. You were sitting down. Like you're a professional sitter-downer.
Rest a little bit there, Darryl. If you don't have a booth, you know. Yeah, got a little booth.
From the 20, Jackson to Obamanu. Spun away from Keenan Lewis. For the fans who have not yet seen Goose's setup, it is the ultimate fan cave, and it's down on the field in the end zone.
Well, he was right. He referred to it as the Goose booth when he had Dermontti Dawson down there. That's exactly what it is.
Well, it's just a little workspace. You have your workspace up there, and I have mine down here.
I don't think you should use the word little when describing it. Obamanu makes the catch for a Seahawks first down. There it is.
What do you mean it's not little? This isn't that big. Look, you can't see. Just we got big TVs in here and telestrators and different things.
Set out to the 42.
I'm just glad the game's on. I thought you might be watching an episode of The Sopranos or something down there on the big screen.
Nah. I'm watching you, though. I usually have a camera down in this area. One of these cameras, I can have them switch it to you. I see what you're doing up there a lot. Talking about me sitting there.
All right, Santa Claus.
Keeping his eye on us. Second down and 9. Jackson to the outside. Doug Baldwin, the rookie out of Stanford. Polamalu the tackle.
Well, the one thing that they wanted to see Tarvaris Jackson do today was be a little bit quicker with his decisions, and I think he's done that. You know, they've got to give him an opportunity to stretch the field. You see right there, and he's right around 5 point something per attempt. They've got to allow him, and whether it's a question of whether Sidney Rice is back in the lineup or not, you know, he has to be able to stretch the field. They've really been working kind of the intermediate passing game all afternoon.
Jackson brought down back at the 38. James Farrier, it is the 5th Steelers sack today.
And that's an unblocked sack.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why they're not running some deeper routes. They just not a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to have the protection when you turn somebody loose. Right? I mean, Robert Gallery has to come off the twist, but somebody's got to slide down and get James Farrier.
So Ryan back to punt once again. Under 5 minutes remaining, fourth quarter here in Pittsburgh. Penalty marker down as Emmanuel Sanders is down back at the 18.
Holding. Number 8 of the receiving team during the kick. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the kick. First down.
Well, in a game last week where a lot of things went wrong, Mike Tomlin felt it was his defense that really needed to step up, and they have today. I mean, much sounder as a unit. They shut down the run, which is critical. It's part of the philosophy in Pittsburgh. You smash the run, you take away the play action and the misdirection runs, and you force them into predictable, rhythmic passes. And once you do that, you turn loose that front, and that's how you end up with 4.5 sacks during the course of an afternoon. So a big jump today by that Steeler defense that some people were saying was too old last weekend.
Isaac Redmond. In case you missed it earlier, Ben Roethlisberger took a low hit late in the second quarter. Left the game for 2 plays. Replaced by Charlie Batch. Roethlisberger came back in, finished out the first half.
Then right away in that third quarter, he took one from Anthony Hargrove down low too. So, you know, again, it wasn't intentional, but Raheem Brock has to be responsible for where he's at when he gets back in the pocket, and that was Marcus Gilbert getting beat on an inside spin. He stuck his leg out, tripped Raheem Brock, who fell into Ben Roethlisberger. But then when he came back in the third quarter, you had Anthony Hargrove kind of shoot a gap, and he came in real low on Ben, so he did take that other shot. And, you know, at 24-0, you know, 3.5 minutes to go, not a bad time for Charlie Batch to get out and get a few snaps just to make sure Ben's ready to go next week.
Steelers will hit the road for the next 2 weeks. They will visit the Colts and then the Houston Texans. There's Roethlisberger on 3rd down and 8, and the catch is made for a first down by Antonio Brown. Time for another game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, Kevin Cobb getting the tough guy award on this touchdown pass. The Arizona quarterback hangs in against Washington and finds a wide-open Larry Fitzgerald. 73 yards on the score. Arizona up 21-13. Kenny Moose and Goose. Cardinals trying to go to 2-0 for the second time in 19 years.
Wow, thanks, Kurt. And the Cardinals will travel to Seattle next week. NFC West matchup. Seahawks will play 2 at home. Arizona, then Atlanta. From the 29-yard line, here's Redmond. Redmond out to the 33. With under 3 minutes remaining here in Pittsburgh.
That's another guy that I've been impressed with. You know, watching Isaac Redmond on film last week, Goose, and watching him again today. Yeah, he's a great complement to Rashard Mendenhall. The two of those guys together, that's a tough running game to stop. You can see today they're over almost at 120 yards.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's the 1-2 punch. They both really have great balance. They find the open hole, and you never see them falling backwards. That's one thing about Redmond and Mendenhall. They're always falling forward. You know, they always got that nice lean, and they're driving their legs. So a lot of hidden yardage out of those two guys.
And they each have a touchdown today, Goose. Here's Redmond once again. And he picks up a Steelers first down, and we hit the 2-minute warning here in Pittsburgh. All Steelers.
I wish I had hair like that, Kenny.
Remember that back in the day, Moose?
I don't think it was ever that nice.
Can't fit it all in the helmet. 24-0 Steelers. Steelers last shutout back in the 2008 season against Cleveland. Last time the Seahawks were shut out right here in Pittsburgh in 07.
And we had the photo of Dick LeBeau with the hand up, you know, trying to rally the guys to make sure they finish the game the right way and get the shutout. It's difficult to shut a team out in the NFL. I mean, that's a long day's work to keep an NFL offense without scoring any points. So
after giving up 35 the week before,
yeah.
I mean, you had to go and make a point. So I think the Steelers did that today.
Coming up, following the Steelers and the Seahawks, we will take you to Minnesota for the Vikings and the Bucs. Just under 2 minutes remaining there.
I think that game at one point was 17-0 Minnesota. It's gone to 2017 Minnesota. So Tampa Bay, after a 10-win season last year, trying to prevent an 0-2 start this year.
The Steelers coming off last week's disappointing loss in Baltimore. Win for the first time this season. Seahawks drop to 0-2 as the Steelers shut out the Seahawks here in Pittsburgh by the score of 24-0. Ben Roethlisberger passed for 298 yards and a touchdown to Mike Wallace. In a couple of minutes, we will send you to Minnesota for the Vikings and the Buccaneers. But first, we will return to Pittsburgh right after these messages. Steelers win it 24-0. Back to Pittsburgh in a moment.